I think example 6 is a really strange example because it's actually asking us to kind of do this problem logically instead of using the formula we just wrote, which seems silly, but that's all right. We can do it both ways, and that way we can see that they are similar results. So if we take 5 grams and we cut it in half, then we have 2.5 grams, right? And that's going to happen in 8 days. Well, then in another 8 days, we are going to lose half of that because that's how half-life works. Isn't that interesting? Science is so cool sometimes. So then 2.5 divided by 2 is going to be 1.25, and that's going to happen in 16 days because it's another 8 days on top of the 8 days that already made it half. And then if we half our 1.25 again, then we get this magic 0.625, which our problem is asking us for, right? So that's going to happen in another 8 days. So that'll be 24 days total. So using this logical process, we have discovered the answer of 24 days just based on understanding half-life and how half of it decays each day. And that's why the example says what it does. Okay, now let's go to the formula we created in the last problem. We're going to use it to check our results. If my computer is going to stop lagging and cooperate with me, we will be great. So we're going to check a as a function of t would be 5 times e to the natural log 0.5 over, 8 times t. Okay, so there's 2 ways we could verify this. We could either just plug in the 0.0625 and solve this with a logarithm, or we could verify our answer by plugging in 24 for t. I don't know which way you want to do it. Maybe we should do it both ways. So if we plug in the 24, we would have 5 times e to the natural log 0.5 divided by 8 times 24. So I need to carefully put that in the calculator and see what happens. So maybe I'll pull up my calculator, do it this way, move this over so I can see what I'm doing. So we have 5, and then we're going to have e, and then e to the natural log 0.5 divided by 8, although I don't know, I feel like I need to put parentheses in to make sure it's doing everything in the right order, because I want the natural log of 0.5 before it divides it by 8, and then that whole thing is part of the exponent, but then also part of the exponent is the times 24, so we should just be able to add that one in, but without extra parentheses, but only attempt to type it in correctly. Okay, hit enter. Oh, look what we got, 0.0625. We actually got that exact answer, well, partially because it ends up being an exact half-life result, and partially because we're using this exact logarithm value. If we used the decimal we got previously, then this would be slightly off, would be rounded. It should still round to 0.625, but only if we used it, more than just a couple of decimal points. Okay. So the other way we could do this is by saying, okay, well, we want to have 0.0625 left, and our model says that it's going to be 5 times e to the natural log 0.5 times 8 times t. This time we're solving for t. So again, we have to do our little isolate, right? So 0.625 divided by 5 is 0.125. Natural log 0.58 times t. So then we're going to do the natural log of both sides. So natural log of 0.125 equals the natural log of e to the natural log 0.5 over 8 times t. So then this moves to the front, and this turns into 1. So then we have t times the natural log of 0.5 divided by 8. And so we need t by itself. So to get t by itself, we're going to take our natural log of 0.125, and we're going to divide by our natural log of 0.5, that divided by 8, which would be the same thing as multiplying by 8, because we're dividing by 8, if that makes sense. Anyway, you could just type it into a calculator like this now, and it should still work. Pulling up my calculator, we have the natural log, so I need to do control, natural log, did it work? No, for some reason, control, natural log, there, I got it. 0.125, close the parenthesis, divided by control, pull up that natural log again, 0.5, I need to close that, and then if I do a divide 8 at this point, is it going to divide 8 in the entire problem, or just divide the 8 from the natural log 0.5? You know, to make sure that this is working right, I think I need a parenthesis right here, because in the overall problem, it will actually be multiplying 8. This is where calculators get so confusing. So, look, it worked out perfectly. So 4. So 24 days. So we found that answer 2 different ways, and we verified it this way, as well as the fact that we can do this 2 different ways. That gives us a way to verify it as well, and to hopefully just kind of see how Half-Life works, and that all of these logarithm things we've been learning about really do give us the same answer that we get when we think through it logically.